At 17:25 on January 27, 2026, Lewis Hamilton's Ferrari SF26 slid wide at turn 14 of the Barcelona circuit and into the gravel trap. After completing 56 laps in treacherous, rain-soaked conditions, this was the heart-stopping moment the Tifosi had dreaded. But it wasn't the mistake that sent a ripple of shock through the paddock. It was what happened next. The car didn't beach, it didn't stall. Hamilton kept the engine running, navigated the gravel, and brought the car back to the pits under its own power. This single act of survival, after 2 intense test days, revealed more about Ferrari's 2026 contender than any lap time could. This is the moment that defines the narrative. Not a breakthrough in performance, but a quiet, methodical demonstration of reliability and robustness. For a team like Ferrari, which finished a deeply disappointing 2025 season plagued by inconsistency and strategic missteps, the SF26 represents a critical reset. After struggling to understand the last generation of cars, all hopes have been pinned on the radical 2026 regulations. This car, with its new, smaller chassis, active aerodynamics, and a completely rethought power unit, is their big bet on returning to the front of the grid. But the central question is this: is the SF26 a genuine silver bullet that will leapfrog them ahead of Red Bull and Mercedes, or is it a desperate gamble that is too complex to work consistently under race conditions? To answer that, we have to dissect what was revealed across its first 2 official outings: the shakedown at Fiorano on January 23rd and the chaotic first day of testing in Barcelona on January 27th. Let's start with the machine itself. The SF26 is a complete rethink, driven by the new 2026 regulations that mandate a smaller chassis and active aerodynamics. The most immediate visual change is the car's brighter red livery, but the substantive changes lie beneath the skin. At the Fiorano shakedown on January 23rd, Hamilton completed his first 5 laps, focusing on systems checks and activating the new active front and rear wings for the first time into Turn 1. Team principal Fred Vasseur called it an early milestone, emphasizing that the primary goal was simply reliable running without any mechanical failures. This shakedown, combined with the subsequent Barcelona test, constitutes the 2 test days that have given us our first real glimpse of the car's potential and its fundamental engineering philosophy. The core of the 2026 rules is the new power unit, which dictates a 50-50 power split between the internal combustion engine and the electrical systems, a massive shift from the previous generation's 30-70 split. This places an enormous emphasis on energy management and driver skill in deploying electrical power at precisely the right moments. After his first taste of the SF26, Hamilton himself described this new dynamic as a fascinating challenge, acknowledging that mastering this system will require significant work and understanding. The team's initial target, as confirmed by Charles Leclerc after the shakedown, was to ensure everything working, no big problems. The fact that both drivers completed their initial runs without any reported issues was the first positive sign. The power unit, a joint effort with Audi on the combustion side, appeared reliable straight out of the box, which is a significant achievement given the complexity of the new regulations. What this means in practical terms is that the SF26 is not just a car with a new engine, it is a fundamentally different machine in how it delivers power. The driver must think differently about throttle application, about when to deploy electrical power, about managing the battery state of charge throughout a lap. This is not a simple adjustment, it is a complete recalibration of driving technique. The fact that Hamilton and Leclerc completed over 120 laps combined without power unit failures suggests Ferrari has solved the fundamental reliability puzzle. But the learning curve for extracting maximum performance from this system will be steep and ongoing throughout the season. Aerodynamically, the car is a mix of aggressive innovation and calculated conservatism. The front wing features a radical design intended to maximize the outwash effect, cleaning the airflow away from the front tires and directing it toward the crucial underfloor. This design philosophy is aimed at accelerating the airflow underneath the chassis, which in turn generates more efficient downforce. The scalloped mainplane section is particularly aggressive, suggesting Ferrari is confident in the legality of the design while pushing the boundaries of what the regulations allow. However, it's the rear of the car that tells a more interesting story about Ferrari's strategic approach. Ferrari has opted for a pushrod rear suspension, a choice that prioritizes mechanical stability over the pure aerodynamic efficiency that some rivals might pursue. The geometry is designed to maximize the anti-squat characteristics under acceleration, keeping the rear ride height stable and consistent. This is a direct engineering solution to prevent the aerodynamic stalling, the sudden loss of downforce that plagued them in previous seasons and cost them crucial performance in critical moments. It's a complex mechanical fix for an aerodynamic problem, suggesting a philosophy focused on creating a predictable, stable platform that drivers can trust and develop with confidence. This is further evidenced by the sidepod design. While sleek and modern, they are not as extreme as the size zero concept some rivals are expected to pursue. The cooling inlets appear more generous, a deliberate trade-off sacrificing a fraction of aerodynamic performance for the sake of engine reliability, a pragmatic choice for a brand new power unit that has never been tested at full race intensity. The upper wishbone mounting point is unusually high on the gearbox casing, a detail that speaks to Ferrari's commitment to maximizing anti-squat. This is not a random choice. It is a calculated decision to improve the mechanical behavior of the suspension under acceleration, reducing the tendency of the rear to rise under hard throttle application. This keeps the diffuser in its optimal operating window, maintaining consistent downforce delivery. The diffuser has been completely redesigned to take advantage of the new 2026 regulations, which allow for a wider, more aggressive profile. Ferrari has seized this opportunity, creating a rear end that generates substantial downforce. The rear wing end plate design is tighter and more integrated, working in concert with the diffuser to create a powerful vortex that generates downforce without excessive drag. The beam wing, which sits between the main rear wing and the diffuser, has been repositioned higher on the chassis, suggesting Ferrari is trying to maximize the efficiency of the airflow path from the underfloor to the rear wing. This is all part of a coherent aerodynamic philosophy. Create a stable, predictable platform that generates downforce efficiently, rather than chasing every last tenth with radical, high-risk designs that might prove unreliable or difficult to manage. The floor design itself appears to be a careful balance between aggressive efficiency and practical robustness. The fences and turning vanes are designed to manage the airflow from the front tyres, but they are not as extreme as some designs we might expect. This suggests Ferrari is prioritizing consistency and durability over peak performance in any single configuration. This philosophy extends to the overall package. The car is designed to perform well across a range of conditions, rather than being optimized for a single track or weather pattern. What makes Ferrari's approach so fascinating is how it diverges from the expected philosophies of its main rivals. While Ferrari has clearly prioritized mechanical stability and reliability, early signs suggest Red Bull may be taking a bigger risk on pure aerodynamic efficiency, potentially with more aggressive cooling and packaging solutions. We saw this strategic battle play out in previous regulation changes, where different philosophies yielded advantages at different points in the season. The question for 2026 is whether the new power unit regulations, with their intense focus on energy management and deployment, will favor Ferrari's more stable platform or a rival's pure aero efficiency. A predictable car could be a significant asset for the drivers as they wrestle with the complexities of the 50-50 power split and the new active aerodynamic systems. The initial data from Barcelona provides our first clues about which philosophy might prove superior. On January 27th, Charles Leclerc took the SF26 out for the morning session, completing 64 laps in wet-to-dry conditions. Hamilton took over in the afternoon for his 56-lap run. Combined, they put 120 laps on the new car, the equivalent of nearly 2 full Spanish Grand Prix distances. This mileage is the single most important statistic from the test. While other teams like McLaren and Mercedes were hampered by the rain and delays, Ferrari just kept running. This relentless accumulation of data is invaluable for understanding how the car behaves across a range of conditions and fuel loads. Leclerc's morning session was particularly important because it allowed the team to gather data in wet conditions, which are crucial for understanding how the active aerodynamic systems perform when the car is sliding and the aerodynamic balance is constantly changing. Hamilton's afternoon session, despite the gravel excursion at the end, provided data on how the car behaves as fuel loads decrease and tyre degradation increases. However, the raw lap times tell a different and initially misleading story. The unofficial fastest time of the day was set by Red Bull's Ishaq Hadjar, a 1:18.578. Hamilton's best, set in the rain, was a 1:32.872. But we must acknowledge the uncertainty here. This is an apples and oranges comparison. The track conditions, fuel loads, tyre strategies, and run plans were completely different. Ferrari was focused on reliability and data gathering, not headline pace. This is a crucial distinction that many observers miss when comparing early season test times. In the context of a long season, the team that understands its car best after the first test day is often the team that will be competitive later in the season. The team itself is, unsurprisingly, projecting confidence about the new direction. Fred Vasseur stated after the Fiorano run that the team collected the data we wanted and that the car went overall pretty well. but it's the driver feedback that's most revealing and honest. Charles Leclerc, after his morning run in Barcelona, was optimistic, stating, "I'm very excited to see what the others have in store when we start pushing." This hints at a car that has more performance in hand, suggesting that the team was indeed holding back during the initial test run. But the most powerful feedback wasn't verbal. It was Hamilton's reaction to the tifosi at Fiorano. He was, in his own words, stunned by the reception, calling it something I will never be able to forget. This wasn't just PR or polite commentary, it was a genuine emotional response that underscores the immense pressure and passion surrounding his move to Maranello. This emotional investment, combined with his calm, methodical work on track, paints a picture of a driver fully committed to the project and understanding the historical significance of what he is attempting to achieve. This brings us back to the gravel. Hamilton's off-track excursion at 17:25 came just after a red flag caused by Hadjar crashing at the same corner. The track was slippery, conditions were tense, and Hamilton likely pushing to gather. Data in the final minutes before the session ended found the limit of the car's grip. But the SF26 survived. The fact that he could recover from the gravel trap without assistance and without damage speaks volumes about the car's robustness and structural integrity. It suggests a design that is not fragile or overly complex. It is a car that can be pushed, that can tolerate a mistake, and that can be brought home. In a long and grueling championship season with 24 races, that kind of resilience is priceless. Mistakes will happen, drivers will push too hard, weather will be unpredictable. A car that can survive these moments without catastrophic failure is a car that can score points consistently. This is the insane revelation of the test, not a secret technical weapon or a breakthrough in performance, but the quiet confidence that comes from a car that is reliable, predictable, and tough. The strategic implications of this solid start are significant and far-reaching. If Ferrari's focus on reliability and a stable platform proves effective in the opening races, it will put immense pressure on rivals who may have opted for more radical, higher-risk designs. Under the budget cap, a mid-season design philosophy pivot is almost impossible. A team that starts with a fundamentally flawed concept will struggle to recover. Ferrari has locked itself into this development path, and these first two test days served as a critical validation. The team will skip the second day of the Barcelona test, returning for the final 2 days on January 29th and 30th, giving them time to analyze the 120 laps of data they've already banked. This pause is strategic, allowing the engineers to process telemetry and make informed decisions about what to test next. The upcoming Bahrain test in February will be the next major checkpoint. That is when we will see how the SF26 stacks up against Red Bull's new car, against Mercedes W17, against McLaren's latest design. That is when we will see if Hamilton's optimism about the car's potential is justified. But based on what we have seen from just 2 test days, Ferrari has given themselves a fighting chance. They have built a car that is reliable, that is coherent in its engineering philosophy, and that has the potential to be competitive. Whether that potential translates into championship success remains to be seen, but the foundation is there. So, to answer our central question, is the Ferrari SF26 a silver bullet? The initial data suggests it's not a silver bullet, but a well-forged sword. Strong, reliable, and ready for a long fight. Its success is far from guaranteed, and the true competitive order will only emerge at the first race in Bahrain. But the revelation from Hamilton's first 2 days is not one of outright blistering pace. It is one of quiet, methodical competence. The car works. It runs for hundreds of kilometers without issue. It survives the chaos of a wet track and a trip through the gravel, and its star driver is both emotionally invested and analytically impressed. This technical battle is just beginning, and it will evolve with every race weekend. The power unit regulations are new, the chassis rules are new, and no team has truly mastered these systems yet. Ferrari's approach, based on mechanical stability and conservative cooling, might prove to be the right philosophy for this era, or it might be outpaced by Red Bull's pure performance or Mercedes' engineering expertise. The only way to know for sure is to watch it unfold on track over the course of the 2026 season. To get the deepest, most informed analysis on how this story develops throughout the season, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Our goal is to bring 50,000 of us together for the most intelligent F1 conversation on the platform.